Hey, what's up? I'm Joel Madden, and this is Artist Friendly. On this episode, I'm talking to the lead singer of the multi-platinum rock band Shinedown, Brent Smith. Let's go.
I'm not smoking on gas, I'm smoking on piff, that's my kind. I don't want no bad times, I don't want to have bad.
So I grew up in Knoxville, Tennessee, so to watch Nashville in the last decade has been interesting. You know, I grew up in the 90s when I was in high school, so from like 1991 to 1996. Yeah, so like when I got a car, I was either, on the weekends, I was either in Atlanta or I was in Nashville.
Right.
So it's just,
that's where it was happening.
It's remarkable to see like what Nashville has done in like a decade.
It's
and
amazing.
It's just continuously, there's a running joke in Nashville where the state bird is the crane.
Right.
Because there's just
so many cranes.
Yeah,
That's
everything's
funny.
just like, you know, they're just building out. But no, like Nashville's, I know why a lot of people started to move there. It definitely has a very unique vibe.
That makes I didn't know you were from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. I formed the band in Florida, but I was born and raised in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Well, Florida's not too far.
Not really, no. And
why'd you go to Florida?
I mean, it was kind of a little bit Shakespearean because I got signed to Atlantic Records with a band from Knoxville, dropped after 9 months, re-signed by the A&R, which was a gentleman by the name of Steve Robertson. He went by Steve-O in the industry. Gave me a development deal, and it led me to Florida.
Limp Bizkit,
Leonard Skinner, you know, Yellow Card.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Susan Tedeschi, Derek Trucks.
I always think of Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
I love Limp Bizkit, by the way.
They've definitely, you know, they're coming back with a resurgence.
Oh,
definitely.
damn, yeah. And I
that's
always
kind
thought,
of been happening, though.
Yeah. But I didn't know you were from Tennessee, which makes sense because I hear a lot of, and I'm from Maryland, which I don't know if you know a lot about Maryland. Probably not.
Some.
Small.
Some.
But I grew up all my life with a lot of country music.
Okay.
And then when I was a teenager, I obviously rebel against everything around me and go into like the opposite and make like punk, pop punk, garage rock, all that.
Yeah.
But I've always had an affinity to Southern like rock.
Yeah.
And country music.
Mm-hmm.
So I love country music.
Yeah.
And to this day. And I've always heard a nice like country Southern rock in your music.
Yeah, I think that it evolved, you know, over time. It's interesting because the band, I think even more so now, there have been comments that we're kind of chameleons. You know, we are this rock band, but I've always played in a very, very big sandbox when it comes to music. I have a pretty vast palette. But, you know, just being from Tennessee, that Southern drawl kind of comes out.
There, yeah.
Some of the modern aspects of what we do, like in the last two records, you know, because there's certain people that are of the mindset of the Shinedown that is now is not the Shinedown of like the first two records. But there's an evolution in that. Like I can't make the same record over and over again, and I do my best, or I should say, we do our best not to write the same song twice.
Right.
But that Southern drawl is something that is just a part of me.
It's just who you are.
Yeah. Like it only takes me about 15 minutes going into Knoxville because my parents still live there.
You start talking.
There's a draw, like there's definitely a Knoxville accent too. There's like a Southern aspect of that because it's a college town, you know, University of Tennessee Vols. But so like there's a lot of transplants too.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like when you kind of enter Knoxville, all of a sudden you start like bleeding orange and white.
Yes.
It's really like it just kind of takes over. But there's this real Southern line of communication. It's kind of like this slow, it's endearing in a lot of ways.
It's great. It's like in Maryland, have you ever heard the Tidewater accent?
No.
Oh,
what is this?
It's terrible.
Oh God.
But it's so great.
Okay.
And
elaborate.
If you grew up in Maryland, you hear words, there's a drawl.
Okay.
So, but it's not, it is Southern in a way. Anybody from Maryland that's listening would know exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Because we all have an aunt that talks like with a heavy Maryland accent or an uncle with a heavy Maryland accent where they say words like home, phone, boat, water, down air, hunt,
Okay.
O's.
Now is
like,
Maryland like? Do you consider that north?
So that's the thing is like it's one of those states that's the southern part of the state. It actually back in like the Civil War, it was divided.
Right.
The Mason-Dixon line, you know, they say the Mason-Dixon line, like that actually runs through Maryland and a couple other states, I think.
Okay.
So Maryland, there's Southern Maryland. So there's like a whole part of the state that is like, would consider itself like a Southern state.
So if I say sweet tea to you, do you know what I mean?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that Mason-Dixon line, sometimes people get that, like if you're past it or forward, depends on if you understand like what sweet tea is, which is where when you stir it, the spoon should be able to stand up.
Yeah.
You know, and then other times people are like, what do you mean sweet tea? It's like, well, you boil the sugar into the steep.
Yeah.
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 Some people go like, what the hell? And then when they taste it for the first time,
water. It's sugar water. Like when
100%.
Mom made tea, it was just sugar in a big mason jar.
Yeah, with brown, food coloring.
Brown, like I think that's tea because it's just sugar.
That draw happens in Knoxville too, just to give you an example. Like my mom cannot say wash. Like she cannot say like, I'm going to go wash, your clothes, or I'm going to go wash my clothes. She has to say wash.
Wash.
Everything is wash.
Wash.
Yeah.
So it's everyone in Maryland, like we laugh about it, but we also love it.
Right.
And like we understand it in a way that's like, it's endearing and it's embarrassing if you're in the real world and you're like, I remember when I had little things that I had to work on, like words that I would say that would sneak out.
Okay.
That I had just from when I was a kid.
Right.
Because we were kind of like a little hayseed. We were down in the country.
Yeah.
Like real kind of far down there. And and it was Maryland. Like it was like there's crabbers everywhere. There's water everywhere. So my wife though will always catch little things, especially if we go home and visit.
She'd call you out on it.
She'd be like, what did you say?
Does she find it
Boat?
like,
Did you
does
say
she find
boat?
it, does she find it like cute though?
Yeah. She likes it. And it's just funny.
Or is she just looking at you like, what did you just say?
No, she likes it.
Like, what's happening?
Yeah, and she definitely will meet some Maryland folks and be like, "What? His accent is crazy. He like I can't understand totally what."
Now, where's she from?
Nicole is originally from Oakland,
Okay.
born in Oakland, and then moved down here at a young age and grew up in Beverly Hills.
Cool.
Beverly Hills, so most of her life in Beverly Hills.
That's got to be interesting growing up in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, I always asked that.
Yeah.
I was like, "What is?"
And
that
you live
like?
in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, I think we're all not so different than we think we are. Even if you could say, well, they grew up rich and I grew up poor.
Absolutely.
You're growing up with a different set of problems. And we could argue like, yeah, but those are better problems. I'm like, I don't know if they are better problems.
Yeah, I think it depends. I mean, I grew up with no money.
Yeah.
My mom, worked for a, pretty big corporation,
worked hard
in the banking system. My dad was a teacher for 40 years.
Yeah.
So
they worked hard and they didn't make a lot.
They didn't,
That's kind of like the average, like mine too. Like my parents worked really hard, didn't make a lot. We didn't have much.
Yeah. But I mean, in all reality, what we did have, what we were rich in was like love and affection and respect. And, I was raised in a lot of ways by really, my dad is such a huge part of my life, but, two strongest women in my life were my granny and my mom, which is my mom's mother. So the work ethic was always instilled at a super young age. There was, when I was 13 in the state of Tennessee, you had to write a letter to the governor, like the parent, and the child, but if you wrote a letter to the governor and it went through the office and this and that and the other, you could go to work at 13 as long as you had your parents' permission.
Right.
So like as soon as I could swing a hammer or, bag groceries or whatever, I wanted to make my own money. So the work ethic was always instilled.
That's funny, isn't it? Because I was the same way. I got a job at 14 and worked probably 40 hours a week from the first.
What'd you do? What was your first job?
First official job. So before we could get jobs at 14, we were working on our own. We sold candy at school, which was actually not such a joke. Like we made a lot of money.
I would say so.
Like we made hundreds of dollars a week selling candy, and then we got caught and we got expelled.
As you
we got
do.
caught a couple times, and then it was a whole thing. We got back into school. It was fine, but it was the first time I had ever
Did
had
you have
money.
to pay somebody off with candy?
No,
Get back in?
it was really not cool. Like if you think like if someone's being entrepreneurial, you'd like encourage it.
Yeah.
You'd be like, let's like formalize this and make it a way for you to do it.
Right.
And there was just no having it, and especially like kind of like poor kids selling candy. Like you think, what do you want to do? Sell drugs?
Exactly.
I don't know if we even knew how to sell drugs, but candy was like such a quick turnover. We were just going every week. We'd go to this like store that had like bulk candy, and we'd buy like Jawbreakers, Jolly Ranchers, this, that, and we'd have like a different variety every week, and we'd just like kill it. Then we got stopped that. We were mowing grass and washing cars.
Yeah, that's doing that will humble you.
Yeah.
Like the grass mowing, the car washing, any kind of like manual labor.
For nothing.
For nothing.
We were like, I'll give you $5, $10, like max back then. So then when we were 14, you could get a job. You could get a minimum wage job. We worked at a pizza place, and he definitely got his money worth out of us for $4.25 an hour.
Yeah.
Just grinding
My
us.
thing too is like I turned 16, and like back in the day, I worked in the back of the house in restaurants. I've worked at the front of the house.
Yeah, same.
But like I started in the front of the house like at 16 I somehow was able to obtain an ABC license at 16 to be able to sell alcohol.
That's great.
You know, so I was like, you know, this was my sophomore year, I think, in regards to yeah, it would have been sophomore year. But man, like my parents on, you know, Friday, Saturday, and not all the time on Sundays, but like I worked at a pizzeria too. It was called Best Italian was the name of the place. And you know, I'm 16 years old, hanging out in a college town. But on a Friday and Saturday night, you know, I could pull $500 if I worked hard.
Yeah.
You know, so 16 years old back
That's
in the
good
day,
money.
you know,
In the 90s.
you know, I could make like $1,000 in a weekend sometimes,
Yeah.
which was, and then I just spent it on music and like music equipment.
Yeah, that's kind of like, we started Good Charlotte when we were 16. We worked jobs. I went from the pizza place to like, I worked at Food Lion. I was a bag boy and then a cashier. And I worked at Golden Corral.
We're very similar, like the timeline. Like I did the same thing, worked in grocery
in the 90s.
stores. Yeah. Very,
alternative
very
radio,
similar.
alternative
Totally.
rock radio. Grew up on alternative rock radio, like
Yeah.
Alice in Chains. I listened to the radio.
College radio too. That
Yeah,
would, like,
college radio. And then that's how we started our band. We just listened to the radio. We didn't have access to like even cable TV until we were older. Like growing up, we never had cable, and like, so we'd be at a friend's house watching MTV if we got to watch MTV.
My
But
parents blocked it in our house. But but my granny like only
She'd
lived
let
2
you.
streets over,
let you.
and she didn't care.
Yeah, she'd
so
give
I
a
just
fuck.
go to her house and watch
That's
it.
funny. Yeah, my mom was super afraid of, she's very religious. So she was afraid of us getting too much secular music in our minds. But we would find it, buy Rolling Stone magazines or buy this, and we would just like,
Remember Metal Edge?
Yeah.
Like back in the day? That was like my favorite
oh, you like
magazine.
Metal Edge?
I just loved
loved it.
how wild it was. I go back to that, like everything is like, it's too easy now. Like back in the day, and I'm not trying to like, you know, age us or anything, but like back in the day, man, it wasn't at your fingertips. You had to go hunt for it.
Yeah.
You know, and there was a lot of discovery.
Yeah, that's dope, dude.
Yeah.
That's one of our magazines.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, dude. I
That's
love
cool.
Metal Edge.
Yeah.
So I loved music magazines. I would buy them and just discover any band. And
What were the other ones? There was like Hit Parader. There was
Hit Parader,
Revolver's still around.
Revolver,
AP still around.
Alternative Press.
Alternative Press, yeah. What are some of the other ones? I'm trying to think of some of the obscure ones that were Circus. Yeah.
Like Hit Parader, Circus were like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like Guitar World. I like that too.
Yeah. Guitar World's still there.
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
still there.
Yeah.
But
I just think back, and then when you go and you find out like bootlegs and different things of that nature, and like these different, especially coming out of Europe and the UK, all these different magazines like Kerrang and all that, which is still around,
which I love too. There's Rock Sound, Kerrang, Enemy. Those were like the ones in the UK.
Yeah.
Metal Hammers in the UK.
What is because I know that you've said that like for the band that Australia is like your second home.
Yeah.
Like what is the publication in Australia like for music?
Australia does like Australian Rolling Stone. That's the
Okay.
big one.
All right.
There's not a lot of big music publications in Australia. They have some like websites that do pretty well there, but like Australian Rolling Stone is probably like the big music. You guys probably do good in Australia.
No, the thing is about that is we've been working on that for like years, it seems like, because we've only been one time and it was like 14 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, because right now, honestly, what I'm trying to do is the band that I'm in is a bit of a, I mean, some of the people in the industry have called it, we're kind of like a unicorn because there's a lot of like United States based stuff that we do, you know, getting a bit more familiar in Canada. UK is probably the second market for us and what have you, Europe. But like there's all these places that I really, really want the band to go to that people are sometimes surprised that we've never really been to. Like, we've only been to South America once, and it was only for 2 festival shows. And then we've only been to Australia one time, never been to India, been to Asia like once. And so 2026, moving into next year, like my goal is to play all 7 continents.
Yeah.
To just be like, hey man, like we've been doing this for a minute. We've never even played Mexico.
Really?
Yeah, it's very strange. It's harder to find tours than you would think. And then also too, it's just the financial side of things.
It's hard to go. People don't realize how expensive it is to move the show. I mean, what do they want you to do? Like, you can't just show up.
I need you guys to go do a tour in Australia and take us with you.
Come with us.
we would in a heartbeart.
Okay.
We'd love it.
Done.
That dude, let's go, man.
That would be dope.
We would do that. Lose my mind.
Because we're definitely gonna tour Australia, not this year, but probably next year.
I'd love for you to keep us in mind, man. We'd be honored.
We're warming it up this year. We're gonna do like 10 shows.
That's awesome. But that's the other thing too. Like in Australia, people talk about like there's only so many places you can play, but at the same time, 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
You do
because you can't really bus anywhere. It's so the landmass is so
you fly.
You got to fly everywhere.
You fly. You truck everything and then you fly. You would do Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth.
Got it.
So 5.
Yeah.
You could do other.
Now, do you know the other ones that are like in the? Is there anywhere like in the bush to play? Like cities that you wouldn't know
Tasmania.
about? Okay. Have you ever done Tasmania?
No.
Okay. Do you want to do Tasmania?
I would do it just to see Tasmania.
So would I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's cool.
Okay.
Australia is fucking dope. But like, I would say we have an affinity personally for shows outside of America.
Tell me where.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Like, we do great in South America.
Okay.
We'll
go with you there too.
In Mexico. Like, Mexico's great. We do great in Europe. We just love it there. And the shows are great. It's not that we don't love America. We love America. I think being that we didn't get to travel like growing up, like I didn't get on a plane until I was 19.
Really?
So
I didn't get on a plane until I was 21.
There you go.
Yeah. I also didn't listen to the Beatles' White record until I was 24. So
probably same.
Yeah.
And I love the Beatles, but I wasn't a music aficionado until I was older.
Yeah.
I was just
I didn't want to be told what I was supposed to like from someone else's opinion. So I think that I appreciated it more as I got older. Some of the records that are like ingrained in not only pop culture, but just musical history. Like, these are the greatest records ever. And I'm like, well, I don't know.
I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah. Let me at least have my opinion. Then you hear it and then you're like, I understand why that is.
I agree. Totally. I think no one wants to admit it. I will admit it wholeheartedly. Like, I had a chip on my shoulder for a long time on like what music I was supposed to listen to or what music was great. I think also we came out at a young age and the music critics were so mean to us that we became very anti, like, if that's what you guys
your fan base is extraordinary.
Our fan base is amazing. And then as I got older, I started to really appreciate why people like these certain bands and these, especially the older bands.
Yeah.
But even like some of the bands that I may not have appreciated when I was, in my early 20s, I can just listen to a record now with like no emotional attachment to like, am I supposed to like it or not, and make my own judgment on it, which I don't know if I could always do, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think about it also too, like my dad completely changed my life when I was 14, 15 years old, because like I was heavily influenced in like British punk rock, thrash metal, really, really heavy stuff when I was like 14, 15 years old. Like I had a whole, like and this was like back in the day, but like when I was 14, I just tried to grab everything that I could from like Gigi Allen.
Yeah.
Just because it was
crazy.
Like the wilder it was,
you
the
just
better.
Went like I'm going to find the wildest
I'm
one.
going to find the wildest stuff.
Yeah.
But then like, Operation Ivy, The Exploited,
Oh my
like
God.
the Dwarves, Fugazi, all that stuff. I remember my dad coming into my room one day, and it was kind of silly, almost like out of a movie. Music's blasting, I'm just doing my thing. My dad's like, Brent, and I'm like, what? And he's like, well, I don't understand why these people are so mad. Talking about the music, even like on the female tip too, man. Like, I'm a huge Wendy O. Williams fan.
Yeah.
But he was just like this angst. And so he said, I got you something. I do want you to listen to something different. And I didn't want to hear it. And so he gave me this tape and he's like, will you just put this in at some point in time? I'm like, whatever. And so he leaves the room. I throw it in the corner. A couple of weeks go by. I'm like cleaning stuff up in my room and I find this tape that my dad gave me. And it was an anthology of a guy named Otis Reading.
Oh my God.
And
my dad loved Otis Reading. That's how I heard Otis Reading.
So I put it in. And the only thing that I can equate this to is and the first song I ever heard was Love Man.
Yeah.
And it was literally like, it was like tasting chocolate cake for the first time.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize like that the voice could truly be used as an instrument, because Otis Reading got me to Sam Cooke, which got me to, Marvin Gaye and Al Green, and then Percy Sledge. And then Percy Sledge got me to Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, Nina Simone. And it just opened up this different world of like R&B and Motown and rhythm and blues, and learning like the core of like rock and roll. Then I started to find out about the Jackson 5. And then oddly enough, the Jackson 5 kind of led me to Led Zeppelin, which led me to Black Sabbath. And then it just started growing from there. But I was so centered in like heavy guitars, big drums, scream, because I was an angsty kid, but all of a sudden I started to figure out, oh, wait a minute, you could use your voice as an actual instrument.
Yeah, and it's interesting. That makes sense to me. Also, it's soul.
Totally.
There's soul music. So I don't even put that music in a category of something that I even critique.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's hard to explain, but like my dad loved that music too.
Yeah.
So everything you just named, I grew up on when my dad was around. Then he left when I was a little older. From 0 to 10, all I heard was soul. Mm-hmm. Right. And that to me is weird. It's like, I don't even think about it, but foundationally, I would say that's probably like the musical foundation of my life was something like gospel and soul.
Yeah.
My parents went to church. There was a lot of church music, and my dad listened to soul music, R&B, Stevie Wonder, all the Motown. So
it's in our DNA.
Yeah. So
like that music is really, it's embedded in it's like human beings in general.
It's hard to explain because it doesn't even, like, I still listen to that music sometimes. It's weird. Like, I put it on in the background at home. Like, I'll put it on in the house. Mm-hmm. It's not the same experience as listening to a record. Mm-hmm. Like when I listen to a band, like, oh, they just made a new record. Right. So I put it on, or I'm in the car or whatever. I listen to it, and it's like a more critical listening experience for me. Yeah. Like I'm listening to the words. I'm listening to how did they do that? What did they do? So I would say it's a critical listening.
And you might be listening to something that like you're a cat, like the category or the genre is a little bit more what you do.
Right.
So you're
like I listen to
what are they doing?
Dude, I listen to Architects when I work out. Mm-hmm. And I just listen to them, or I listen to Bad Omens when I drive. Right. And I listen to the records and I listen to the songs, but with the soul music, with Motown, with Sam Cooke, Otis Reading, Stevie Wonder, it's hard to explain. Like Marvin Gaye, Lionel Richie. Mm-hmm. I don't listen to that music with any critical, it's more like a soothing.
It's almost like a comfort.
Yeah.
It's like
it's a part of like
a blanket almost. You just feel secure, like when it's on.
It's less listening, more feeling. Mm-hmm. Like it is exactly what you said. It's like putting a blanket on when you're cold. Yeah. It's like when you're on your couch, it's cold. Your wife is like, honey, will you get me that blanket? It's something like that. It's like I put it on maybe when I don't, and I've never thought about this. This is the first time I've ever talked about it. It's like you don't even know when you turn it on. You just know, like very often I must feel that the house needs something. Yeah. And I turn it on and it's the same playlist with the same 30 artists, same 50 songs. It just goes on a loop and it's like a blanket.
That era too. Crazy. Yeah. And that era also, like, I think about Henry Rollins talking about Billie Holiday. There's a really cool interview with him about jazz and soul where Henry Rollins says, when I put on Billie Holiday, I feel like she's just singing to me. Yeah. And there's this kind of dynamic in that I think like jazz. And then if, modern day, and God rest her soul, like the more current of this, like again, somebody that used their voice of an instrument, and unfortunately we lost her way too soon, was Amy Winehouse. Oh yeah. Like for the short time she was here, it's astonishing, how transformative that voice was and how it just was so compelling to a lot of people.
Yeah, those voices don't come along that
way. They don't. They're very rare. Chris Cornell, same thing. When he passed away, everybody was like, no one sings like you anymore, which is true.
Yeah. That's funny. We have very similar backgrounds.
Yeah. Like this is the first time we've met one another, but like, again, I'm a huge fan. So, you know, and I think that I've just always tried to, in what we do and I think the era that we came up in and where we are now, I'm always trying to kind of take a step back. And I think that bands, especially we're talking about kind of the bands that, you know, when you're in a certain genre or a certain style, the last couple of years, I've felt like everybody is in so much competition with each other. And I'm like, I'd rather work with you than be competitive with you. Yeah. Like the thing is for me is like, I try to genuinely champion other bands' success when I see it. And like let people know if they don't know who they are, like, yo, should you check this band out? And, you know, if I have a platform to open up some minds and some ears, I want to do that. And people do it for us too. But I do see here recently, like there is becoming a bit more of a camaraderie with that, especially because the touring industry and what have you, everyone is touring. Like it's not good. You can't put the genie back in the box. No. Like, you know, it's everybody is out there. And there's like 9 billion people on the planet too. So, I mean, you see a lot more stadium tours, you see a lot more like larger festivals and what have you. But at the same time, I think that we should all be working together. And the other side of that too is, you know, the band that I'm in, and I'm sure you're the same way, like you go into a writing session, you know, when you're making a record or what have you. I don't think any of us walk in there and write the songs because we want a trophy. I think we're writing it because we have something to say. And as long as you don't lose that mentality, I think you're going to be good because the audience is the boss. You know, we've always said that we got one boss. It's everyone in the audience. And they know if you're not being authentic.
I always say this to bands. I'm on the older side of a rock and roll career, right? I'm not saying I'm old, but
in this generation though, man, you're current also because this new, like my son's 17 and like for the longest time, and I kept him away from a lot of this. Like I never made it about me from the day he was born.
Yeah, me too.
But his friends in the recent like year or two have been like, yo, Lyric, my son's name is Lyric. And they're like, yo, Lyric, your dad's stuff is pretty good, man. Yeah. You know, like he's not admitting it to me. Yeah. You know, but the unique thing about that is now he's kind of like branched out where like he wasn't really into music and now he's into System of a Down. Now he's into like Pantera. Now he's into like, you know, Nirvana. Yeah. Like his generation, it's actually kind of the 90s era stuff that they're really into, early 2000s. But the cool thing about the way the music industry is now is you have these younger generations that, you know, Limp Bizkit, for example. Remember when Bizkit got all that kind of heat on him because of certain things and it was like oversaturated or however you want to look at it? Fred was, you know, man, maybe because he didn't have a choice, but he just kind of left the scene for a minute. Yeah. You know what I mean? But now it's like they're being propelled back up. Same thing with Creed, man. And I know people have a lot of opinions about Creed and what have you. Back in 2010.
I fucking love Creed.
I do too. Like, but I mean, going back to 2010 when they tried to do that kind of reunion, it was just a little early, I think. And they just finished, I think it was like 64 shows with last year alone. Dude, they were only 100,000 shy of 1 million tickets. Like every show they did was like sold out. So there's this interesting renaissance.
Have great songs.
Yeah.
Our conversation continues in part 2.